You're listening to the Why Boarding School podcast, broadcasting around the world. Join us as we promote independent boarding schools throughout the United States and Canada with our invited guests. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jeffrey Quebec.
Welcome to the Why Boarding School podcast. I'm Jeff Quebec, and today I'm joined by the Dean of Enrollment at St. George's School in Middletown, Rhode Island, Ryan Mulhern. Welcome, Ryan. It's great to have you here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to talk to you and can't wait to see what you have to ask.
Well, there's certainly a lot of history at your school. It was originally founded in 1896 as an all-boys school called Dimmon's School for Small Boys, or Mr. Dimmon's School for Boys. Eventually, the school became co-ed when it began accepting girls as day students in 1971, and then girls were admitted as boarding students in 1972. Situated on a campus overlooking the Atlantic Ocean, 3 of St. George's hilltop buildings are listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Ryan, perhaps you can start off by giving our audience a brief overview of the number of students at St. George's School, the grades you offer, where the students come from, etc.
Yes, great. So we are 9 through 12 high school. We don't have anything before or after, no post-grad year. We're 380 students. So about 80 of those students are day students, with the 20 faculty and staff kids included in that 80. So it makes about 20% of our student body. And the other 80% are kids from around the United States and around the world. We have students from about 30 states and 20 countries, but 80% boarding. So it is a residential community. The really special piece is the location. And I think anyone who's ever visited St. George's will tell you that overlooking the ocean is a pretty great place to put a school.
Very much so. And so what is the academic curriculum like at St. George's School?
So a typical liberal arts curriculum. Our kids are being prepared to go to lots of different colleges and universities, but everyone's going to have to take, humanities, which is your English and your history. They're going to have to work their way through 3 years of a foreign language. We do have a little religion requirement and some arts, along with, history and math and science. Most kids will take the 3 lab sciences.
Can you talk a little about the academic support which is offered to the Horton Center for Learning?
Yeah, so the Horton Center is our instructional services, and within the Horton Center, there are 3 professional tutors. So students can get to the Horton Center in a lot of different ways. Some students, their teacher could recommend, some could self-identify and say they need a little help, and others are recommended by an advisor or a parent call, or someone else in the community. It could even be a dorm parent who helps recommend the Horton Center to help kids kind of build their tool belt and make sure they have all the skills they need when they head off to college. The Horton Center has been amazing. I encourage lots of students to take advantage of it if you're trying to go from a B+ to an A, or you're having a little trouble in a class and you need to get over that hurdle to get an honors grade.
Yeah, very nice. And can you tell me a little about the visual and performing arts offerings at St. George's?
Yeah, so all the students are going to start with Arts 101, which is our basic, introductory art course. Most students will start there. Some students already have a portfolio and they can jump into our higher level classes. But in basic arts, they're going to do a visual foundations part where they're going to work on drawing and perspective. And then they're also going to have a performing arts piece where they're going to do a little bit of music, a little bit of performing. For a lot of kids, that's something that might be uncomfortable and takes them out of their comfort zone. But all students are going to try that generally in their first year. It's offered to all of our 9th graders.
That's nice. They're being exposed to the arts and they can find out, like I said, sometimes it's not always easy being out of your comfort zone, but some of these students maybe end up being your top artists.
Yeah, my children I had 3 kids and my youngest is a senior here. So my daughter went through and she really took advantage of the music offerings and she sang a cappella and was in the school choir and played guitar. My older son, he really liked the video piece and he liked doing video editing and movie making as his arts classes. And now my youngest is in digital photography right now, which he finds really exciting.
That's awesome. It's such a wide offering of classes to take too for the students.
Yeah, there's a nice mix. I think some kids will go into the painting or 2D. Other kids prefer the 3D. We actually offer a course in sculpture where the class in the spring will work together. And we actually have a sculpture garden with a bunch of sculptures that have been done by classes throughout the years displayed around campus. You can see student artwork as you walk around on your tour.
How cool. That's awesome. So can you share with our audience, or perhaps is there any special signature programs that are offered at St. George's?
Yeah, so there's the one major one is we're celebrating 50 years of Geronimo, and that is our school sailboat. And Geronimo has been taking students to sea for 50 years now. It takes 8 students at a time, 1 captain and 2 professional mates. So there are 11 people sailing on the boat. And the boat actually just came back across the Atlantic Ocean. So it has been in the Mediterranean for the last 2.5 years, with students flying back and forth to spend time off the coast of Greece or Portugal or Spain or France and Turkey, and doing marine science, but also getting to do a little bit of global studies. But a group of students just got on the boat in the Canary Islands and sailed it all the way across the Atlantic. And now it is in the Bahamas for the rest of this year. It goes up and down the coast. Really, really unique. Kids who have been turtling over the years and learning how to navigate. It's a working boat, so our students actually cook. They clean, they do night watch. So for some students who would just make cereal, they're responsible for cooking for all of the crew and the other students on the boat once a week. So great opportunity for kids to get outside their comfort zone, build some independence. We see a lot of resilience in those students, and it's just really unique and special.
Oh, awesome. And so I'm a little confused here. What is the term that they're on the boat for? How long?
So there are different trips. That's a great question. So it used to be 3 trips, 1 each season. So there was a fall, a winter, and a spring. So many students have shown interest that now we'll have a little bit longer fall trip. We'll have 2 trips in the winter, which are only about 4 weeks. The fall trip might be 5 to 6 weeks. There's a spring break trip, which my daughter did in the Bahamas, which is just 8 days of turtling and snorkeling and exploring islands, doing all the marine science, but without your other schoolwork. One of the caveats is that our students actually do their schoolwork while living on the boat. So they could be either on the boat or sitting on the beach in Florida reading their English book. Their English class is about voyages and discovery. They all take marine science, but they might have some Spanish work to do or a history paper they have to write, and they do that while sailing.
Oh, cool. What an awesome opportunity for those students.
Yeah, we're on our second boat. So there was an original boat that was donated by an alum to the school. And probably 15, 20 years ago, we built a brand new Geronimo that was designed to take our students to sea. So it is a marine research vessel, really perfectly suited for the 8 students and the 3 crew on the boat.
Very nice. And Ryan, how about athletics at St. George's? Is every student required to play a sport? And also, what are some of the athletic offerings?
So everyone has to do something in the afternoons. There are lots of different offerings. There's no nap time for anybody between 3:30 and 5:30. But they're varsity level sports. We have 25 varsity sports teams in each of the different seasons. And some kids will do multiple sports at the varsity level. We're seeing more and more students who want to specialize when they're getting closer to college. So we offer strength and conditioning all 3 seasons. And we have professional strength and conditioning coaches in a brand new wellness center that was just built for our varsity athletes to train. We also have students who do things like pickleball. We offer Pilates and yoga. Some students would prefer to do community service in the afternoons, and they might go down to the Martin Luther King Center to work with kids, help them with their homework, and then play games with them. And then we have other kids who like to do independent studies, where they might be doing a project in hydroponics. In the spring, we actually have beekeeping here on campus. So lots and lots of different opportunities for students. Everyone can really find something that they want to do in the afternoons.
Very nice. So we're going to do, Ryan, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation talking about St. George's School in Middletown, Rhode Island.
Do you have any questions or guests that you'd like to see on an upcoming Why Boarding School podcast? You can contact us directly through our website at whyboardingschool.com. Now, back to our show.
Welcome back to the Why Boarding School podcast. I'm Jeff Quebec, and today I'm joined by the Dean of Enrollment at St. George's School, Middletown, Rhode Island, Ryan Mulhern. So Ryan, as we continue our conversation, perhaps you can share with our audience, what is a typical school day like at St. George's School?
Yeah, so we have 2 different types of typical day. We have 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. That is a normal class day that goes from 8:30 until 3:10. And then we have afternoon activities, dinner, some free time for students, generally from 6 to 8, and then study hours from 8 to 10 in the evening. After study hours, kids will have a little bit of free time. Our younger students have an hour. Our older students have 2 hours before it's time to go to bed and lights out. We do have a special schedule where we have a half day on Wednesday and a half day on Saturday. And we are a school in Rhode Island that only competes against schools in Massachusetts. That's where the ISL is located. So we get on a bus one day a week, either Wednesday or Saturday, and take a ride anywhere from an hour to 2 hours up to Boston to play against one of the schools in our league. The other day, we'll have a little bit of free time before the other team will arrive here to play in the afternoon. So games, contests against our competition on Wednesday and Saturday afternoons, and a day off on Sunday. Sunday is a complete day of rest. Our students sleep in, they recharge, they go to brunch. There's lots of lounging around, lots of watching movies. And some kids will go down and enjoy Newport and all that has to offer.
And yeah, so what are some of the activities that are offered, whether it be on campus or maybe trips off campus? What's that look like?
Yeah, so Saturday nights, generally our students are coming back from their games or coming back from downtown. If they have home games, they often like to go out to eat. And Newport has a lot of restaurants and shops for our kids to go down and walk around, and lots of different selection, which is one of the benefits of being a mile from Newport, Rhode Island. On Saturday nights, there's lots of different activities. There are things like hypnotists and dances, and they just did country line dancing this weekend. There are dorm wars, pool parties, you name it, movies on the quad, 3-on-3 basketball tournaments, pickleball nights, all those things happen on Saturday night. So those go from 9 p.m. until just before 11 p.m. And at 11 o'clock, all of our students are required to go back to their dorms.
And so what are the meals like at St. George's? Are they served sit down, they buffet, are they required? How does that work, Ryan?
So we don't have required meals and we don't have sit down meals. We have buffet style meals where students can choose to go to breakfast, lunch, or dinner on their own. Today's kids, there's lots of Grubhub and DoorDash and Uber Eats that are delivering food to our delivery spot here on campus. But yeah, lots of kids. The dining hall is packed, usually right before classes in the morning. At lunch or right around noon is a mob scene. We don't all fit in there at one time, so it's usually, the meals will go, breakfast goes for an hour and a half, lunch and dinner, there's a 2-hour window. So if you prefer to do a little extra work after practice, you can go a little later. Some kids might finish their activity early and they'd be at dinner right at 5:30. So depending on whether you're a squash player, a swimmer, a basketball, or a hockey player, you might be getting to dinner closer to 7 p.m. versus 5:30. But everybody figures out what's right for them. And if you'd rather order a pizza or sushi, or you have your favorite type of pocket that you get from the cafe, you can go ahead and order those here. We also have a grill on campus. So whenever the dining hall is closed during the day, there's a place for students to go. If they miss breakfast, they go get a bacon, egg, and cheese or a donut and something to drink.
Very nice. It certainly sounds like the Dragons are well fed.
They are. The poor parents, because a lot of the students, when they're eating in the grill, are billing at home. All the meals in the dining hall are part of tuition. So we encourage our students to eat in the dining hall. But teenagers don't always listen to the adults in their lives.
Yeah, very much so. Actually, I also like to add that, as I recall, Ryan, you're a proud alum of St. George's School.
I am, yeah. So I graduated in 1991. I was only here for 2 years. I came as a new 11th grader, and I was the only boy. There were 2 girls that year with me. And it ended up becoming, I was very nervous. It was a leap of faith. I didn't know anyone who had attended boarding school. But I wanted to be a college hockey player. And I knew going to New England to play hockey and get a great education might open up doors that wouldn't be open in Philadelphia. So I took the leap. 2 years went by really fast. Was the best decision I ever made. My little brother came here after I did. My cousin came to St. George's, so it became a family school. And now I've been back for this is my 25th year on the faculty, which I can't believe. It's gone by in a blink of an eye.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And certainly you offer that perspective as you're speaking to parents, not only from being a dean of the admissions, but also from your own experiences of personal experience as a student.
Yeah, that's one of the best parts about my role is I get to talk about what life is like. So sometimes I'm referring to my life as a student and some of the challenges that I had as a student. You're going to be challenged. It's a rigorous academic place. But at the same time, you'll be supported. But not only do I have the alumni piece, now I'm a parent of 3, along with living in a dorm and being a dorm parent with my wife, and really understanding all facets of the experience. So I feel like I have lots of knowledge and experience. I didn't have all these chins, and I could see a lot better when I got here.
Nice. So how about dorm life? What's dorm life like at St. George's School?
Yeah, so I live in a dorm with, our 9th graders live together in the dorm. So the 9th grade experience is very structured. We collect the cell phones from our ninth graders when they go to do their schoolwork from 8 to 10. So they turn those in the common room. There are dorm parents out in the hallways. There are dorm prefects to make sure students are quiet. And in our ninth grade dorm, everyone has a roommate. So they actually study with their doors open at their desk. So there's a lot of structure building good study habits. When they get to 10th grade, they could have a single room or a double. If they live in my dorm, there are 24 boys who live there, 2 faculty families. And the boys like it when my wife's on duty because she makes much better snacks. Her
Very
brownies
nice.
and cookies are much better than the bags of Doritos that I throw out for them.
Ryan, you got to
at the
up
end
your
of
game
school.
there. You got to up it.
I know. I'm not much of a baker.
How about the advisor system? Can you share with our audience what the advisor system is like at St. George's and how that works?
Yeah, so each student is going to have an advisor. The group, an advisee group would be about 6 students, would be a max size. It can be co-ed, it could be single gender, and it can be a mix of different grades. Most of them have some new 9th or 10th graders and then some 11th and 12th graders who share their experience. As a student here, my advisor was so valuable. He was a Brown alum, and he used to take me to the Brown hockey games on Saturday nights to watch Brown play. He loved the hockey team. So I became a big fan. And when it came time to choose a college, I ended up going to Brown, where my advisor would bring his 2 young sons to see the games on the weekends. It was really, really fun. So they have a huge effect, and they're really the support person for the parents. So any questions, any back and forth, generally, and nowadays it's all texting, right? So parents are texting with the advisors, some almost on a daily or weekly basis.
So, Ryan, when you are assigned an advisor upon arrival to St. George's, is that your advisor who will remain with you through your entire tenure there, or is it switch from year to year?
So I would say 95% of our students will stay with the advisor you're assigned because they're your person. They help you with everything. You go to their house for snacks. They take you out to eat. When I need a ride to the train, my advisor was always there to take me. So really, you build this great bond. If there was some other faculty member on campus that you had a great connection with and you wanted them to be your advisor, there is an opportunity each spring to fill out an advisor change form. And students will have the opportunity to move to a different group if they wanted to.
Would you say, is there a typical St. George's school student?
I think that's a great question. A lot of people ask me what we're looking for. So a typical student would be curious. They don't have to be a perfect A+ student and getting the perfect score on the SSAT. We want kids that are going to be curious and like to learn. And not just curious in the classroom, but want to meet other kids. We're a small school. We need kids to engage and get involved with one another. We also want kids who have a little bit of an adventurous spirit. And I think Geronimo is a good sign of that. But we're looking for kids who are going to try new things. We're a small school. We need people to be involved. To have all the programs that we have, we need kids to try things and not just do the things that they've already identified as things they're good at. So yeah, we are curious kids, kids with an adventurous spirit. And I would say kindness counts at St. George's. As the person who's been able to build my children's friend groups for about the last 10 years, I would say kindness and character really count. We're looking for the right kids.
Yeah, very nice. Well said. Are there any cool traditions at St. George's that may be unique from other schools? Or Ryan, perhaps there's that one tradition that you hope always remains part of St. George's?
Yeah, so our Christmas festival is really special, and it's been going for 100 years, and they still kind of follow the same script, and it's just a really special time. It's right before our students go home for the holidays. There's a huge performance-based singing that happens in the chapel. There's a school feast. There are reindeer games. There's singing of carols. And then it always finishes with hugs and handshakes as the students leave for the night and they're going home on vacation the next day. But my favorite tradition is a wacky tradition.
Okay.
And it's called the Pie Race. And it was started about 45, 50 years ago. And it was the cross-country coach was trying to find out who could run on campus. So they had a 2-mile race around campus. Back then it was all boys. And the cross-country coach, his wife would bake apple pies for the fastest 9th grader, the fastest 10th grader. So kids were trying out basically for track and cross country at the time. Well, it has morphed over 50 years into this wacky dress up costume race. My daughter did it's a mile now, not 2 miles. And she did the entire mile loop on a pogo stick, We have kids who wear their clothes backwards and walk backwards.
That's awesome.
They do all sorts of fun. We have kids on unicycles, kids hopping, leapfrogging, three-legged, five-legged, seven-legged, all sorts of fun things. But it's become a really wacky tradition. It's right between the fall season and the winter season, and it's really, really fun.
Very nice. I think I saw some of the photographs on your school's website.
You probably did, yeah. The pie race, it's unique. And I think there are lots of great traditions at schools with graduation and other things, but the pie races are really unique to St. George's.
And so what type of pie is it that you win?
Apple pies, yeah.
There you go.
My son won one when he was a little kid for wearing an A-Rod Yankees jersey. And here, this is Red Sox country. So he won the bravery prize. He was probably 8 years old. But my kids ran in the race with our dog every single year, since they were old enough to run. When they were little, they were pushed in strollers.
That is great. So before we speak about the admissions process, is there anything about St. George's that we didn't discuss today that you'd like to mention?
I think St. George's has a really nice balance, and that's a word that we use all the time. So it's balanced between being traditional and being innovative. It also has a nice balance between being challenging and also having support. So we want to push you. We want to make sure that you're being stretched so you're growing as a student and being prepared for college. But we're also there to catch you if you were to stumble and need some help along the way.
So, Ryan, if someone's interested in St. George's School, how might they go about starting the admissions process?
Yeah, so for us, the online inquiry is where we get all of our inquiry. Even when I stand at a school fair, I tell the students, go online, fill out the inquiry. Because now they start reading about the pie race, they start looking at videos, meet a student, things, give them a sense of what it's like to be here. So the inquiry is where it starts for everybody, and you can inquire years in advance, and you just get into our communication plan. So you're going to see emails that are sent, opportunities for open houses and Zoom nights with coaches and department heads in foreign languages. It'll also encourage you to follow through in the steps for the application process. And we give students hints along the way, things they should probably do for an interview, things they should do on their application. We try to give them a peek behind the curtain because there are people like me that are new to this market. And we want to see them too. I don't want just families who know boarding schools and have friends who are there. We want all sorts of families from lots of different backgrounds to give us a look.
That's awesome. And so what is the school's website address?
www.stgeorges.edu. And no punctuation, just stgeorges.edu.
Perfect. stgeorges.edu. Ryan, this is great. I've enjoyed our conversation, learning more about St. George School and sharing with our audience. Thank you very much.
Jeff, thank you for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Awesome. Ryan Mulhern, Dean of Enrollment, St. George's School in Middletown, Rhode Island.
Thank you for listening to the Why Boarding School podcast. We look forward to you joining us for our next episode. Please remember to subscribe to the Why Boarding School podcast and help us spread the word. Until next time.